Hello and welcome back to Over the Line Football, and it is finally time for us to pick our 26-man squad, the extended squad, which has helped us massively. We were having a little bit of a discussion beforehand. We wanted to not pick, well, we have picked it, but we wanted to sort of go into this blind at first, but then we thought, it's too difficult.
No. The video lasts about 3 hours long.
But the extended squad has helped us, so we are going to talk through, first of all, the goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders and forwards, why we've picked it, who's a bit unfortunate to miss out, and then how they're going to sort of work in our sort of system. There is a bit of, I'd say, mixture of what we want to see in the squad and in the team and what we think Southgate will pick, because obviously there's a lot of choices we would change, but Southgate has loyalties to players, etc. So let's get right into it. First of all, we're going to go through the goalkeepers. I think the quickest positions we're going to go through, because there is not very many candidates, or there is some that we want to sort of pick up on, but Jordan Pickford is going to be number one choice. I think that was further solidified by Pope's shocking distribution in the games previously when Pickford was injured, plus Henderson. Well, Henderson could have made a sort of claim because he's now playing more regularly for United. His positioning was absolutely awful, that Liverpool goal. I'm tempted to just give it Pickford for that, but no.
We picked Pickford, Pope and Henderson as our three goalkeepers. I think that's what everyone will do. I know some people have picked Johnson as well over possibly Pope or Henderson.
He's had a really good season for West Brom, considering.
And I think he will leave West Brom in the season and go to another team in the Premier League. But I personally think it's one of those things. If you have a poor defence, you're going to face a lot of shots. Mm-hmm. So that's why possibly why.
And the build-up play is vitally important. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure Big Sam hasn't been playing football out the back.
No, I don't believe he has, let's be honest now.
Whereas Everton do that to an extent. United definitely do that.
And Burnley do not. This is why
Burnley
do not.
So I think it's Henderson or Pickford for the starting. But I think Pickford will be, because he's Southgate's sort of number one. But I think that's quite easily done with goalkeepers.
3 goalkeepers we picked, and I think that's everyone's done. So next list, we've gone for 9 defenders out of the list. We've gone for John Stones, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Ben Chilwell, Kyle Walker, Trent, Reece James, Connor Cody, and we're giving this man a debut, and it's Fikayo Tomori in the squad.
Do you know what? Why is it mental that Trent Alexander-Arnold could be the most
risky pick,
like controversial pick? Not risky, controversial, because the reports this week he's not being picked for it.
Jesus.
If he's not picked, well,
we might as well talk about the squad first of all. So obviously fullbacks, we've got a left back first. Obviously the choice we've got for left back are
very easily
Ben Chilwell, Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw, you absolutely love Luke Shaw, don't you? Think?
Well, I don't love him because he plays for Manchester United.
You know what I'm saying?
I just think he's the best English right back. Honest to God,
left back.
Back. He used to be a bit indifferent with me, because I used to just take the mick about how unfit he was, and I just used to laugh at him. But the amount he's improved this season has been quite astounding, to be honest. We always knew that Luke Shaw was a talented player. We saw that at Southampton. He had a decent start at Manchester United, but he sort of tailed off under Mourinho, as he did with a lot of players.
Is it Van Gaal as well?
I can't remember when Luke Shaw joined, if I'm being completely honest with you. But he sort of tailed off, but the renaissance this season has been brilliant. And as well as being solid defensively, he started to contribute a lot more going forward. And if you can have these England fullbacks bombing forward and contributing, as well as being able to get back and defend, I think that's vitally important for Southgate, which is why I think he starts. And Chilwell is a fantastic backup option. One thing I want to say on Chilwell, one of the reasons I think Chelsea lost that FA Cup final was not starting Ben Chilwell. Him and Kai Havertz, who were in brilliant form, not starting them was suicidal from Tuchel for me. So I think we've got 2 absolutely excellent options at left back, and I don't think there's any sort of players that are near to him at the moment.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, that left back spot is just those 2, I think, for the next 5 years. I don't see anyone else in that, possibly in the whole of England, or on any left backs in the UK that possibly getting over those 2 now. I think them both playing week in, week out for their clubs as well. I think in the Champions League,
that helps
for them too as well. It's going to prove vital. And these players as well would have probably played against in the Champions League and Europa League. The players who are going to play in the last 16 knockouts, and also Luke Shaw as well has played in the Championship before Luke Shaw has, so he knows a bit of experience out of the 2. So possibly, perhaps that's why he edged him ahead of Chilwell as well, because he's got experience, kind of thing. We might as well we'll go centre half next, because there's quite a talk about on the right back position. The centre halves we've gone for is Stones, Maguire, Cody and Tomori. Stones, Maguire, easy picks. Maguire is only interesting if he's fit, but we think he should be fit. We think he'd be fit for Europa League final.
I gotta say, United think he'll be fit for the Europa League final, so they'll give him a couple. I know the lads who are going into these European finals, so the Manchester United, City, and Chelsea lads will not be with the warm-up games for England because they're going to be playing 3 days earlier in a big European final. Yeah. So play him in that. If United decide to risk him in that, or he plays 60 minutes, etc., get him nice and well rested. Yeah. They'll have a couple of warm-up games in training anyway. Get him straight back into it. His partner is obviously going to be John Stones.
Talk about John Stones as well. If this was Euro 2020, would he even get in our squad? That's the question.
No, not a chance. He's similar, but we've talked about Stones massively on this channel before. Yeah. We know how good he is. He just needs to keep his. I think with the mistake in the last lot of friendlies or the qualifying game, it was more concentration wise. But you can imagine, like he has been for City this season, he'll be massively concentrated in this World Cup. And as long as even a slight mistake in a game doesn't let it affect him mentally, he'll be sweet. And obviously he's next to Maguire. I think they could form quite a decent partnership. And then obviously you've got to have your two backups.
So we've gone for Conor Cody simply because of the fact that he's in the second game he gave Cody the armband when someone got subbed off and he was like, you can't be most experienced.
I think for this position there's always competition, but I think Cody and Mings are in similar boats. I personally think Conor Cody is better than Tyrone Mings.
Yes.
I just he might be controversial. Every time I watch Mings, I'm not convinced about him defensively. He's like, he lets lethal. I mean, the one with Greenwood a couple of weeks ago, where he just let Greenwood come on his lethal left foot. It's just like, why? What? That's just schoolboy defending. Cody is a solid, reliable option, and you think, unless England win the first two group games and they're already through, Stones and Maguire are going to start every game. So this is just in case something happens injury-wise. I think Cody, a bit of an experienced head, has played in the England system a lot before. I think he'd be a good number.
And like you said, as well, possible injuries. Obviously, Harry Maguire hopefully will be fit. If he's not 100% fit, that's a question. Obviously, there is injuries. That's why there's a 26-man squad as well because of COVID now as well, which is great. This is why we can use these other players, and this is why this man Fikayo Tomori's got in the squad. We thought there is chances.
That's just an anti-Mings thing for me.
There is other players as well we think we could have given debut to, perhaps like Ben Godfrey's had a great season for Everton as well, and also Eric Konza as well, obviously Tyrone Mings, his teammate at Villa. But we've gone for Fikayo Tomori. I think, oh my god, he's done outstanding AC Milan in Italy.
Yeah, absolutely mental that Chelsea have let him go.
And obviously there is this 20 million release clause, I think it is in his contract, that AC Milan can take up, and I don't see why they will not take it up.
They will definitely take it up, as if Tomori wants to stay on.
And then obviously as well, if he does obviously goes to the Euros, that's even make it even better for him as well.
The one caveat obviously to this is he's never pulled on an England shirt before, so whether Southgate would rather go with people who have like Mings, which is what I think he'd do. Obviously the one that's the one I think is the most surprising to miss out of this list is Kieran Trippier.
Which we'll talk about full-backs now. So if we've gone with the right backs already seen. We have gone for like 3 right backs. We've gone for Walker, Arnold, Trent, and Reece James.
I think Walker's the most dead cert to play out of these players, which is crazy.
There's a video obviously on the BT Sport channel on Rio Ferdinand left Kyle Walker out of his squad completely, which I was a bit confused about. So he completely left Kyle Walker out.
His versatility gets him in out of anything. But also if they want to play the 5,
if you're starting right back in a Champions League final for your club, and you're not even in the shout to be in the Euro squad, it's just crazy.
It's not even just that. Like, his form has been fantastic for City this season, and considering for between November and February when City went on that fantastic run of 21 games winning, João Cancelo was the star of that fullbacks. Kyle Walker has managed to battle back into the team and displace João Cancelo in that team ahead of this Champions League final, and I think that's shown enormous character at such a late stage in his career. His versatility at playing the right centre back in a 5 and playing at right back, having the ability to go forward, because you don't play for Pep Guardiola if you don't have the ability to go forward. And he's virtually solid defensively. He has moments of lapses in concentration, but most defenders do. Played for Southgate for a long time, so Walker's dead cert.
Trent is the next one we said. I mean, that season you would have thought I just have taken out to Mick of say having not getting Trent in the squad, but I think just because of that time we left him out, everything's up in the air now. Yeah,
it's baffling. I think there is some players who Southgate has picked before that has been in much worse form than Trent Alexander-Arnold. I understood why Trent was not picked for the last squad because of his form, but I I understood that as a thing.
Why was Eric Dyer picked?
To give sort of, well, God, Dyer, didn't even think about Dyer in this list. My God, if he takes Dyer. But I thought that Southgate was trying to use that as a catalyst for give Trent sort of kick up the arse.
And
since then, he has been unreal for Liverpool again.
I think he's been the best right back since that in the Premier League. Personally.
So if anything, he's played his way back into the team for me. But the reports, I think it's the Athletic that put it out that he's not going to be picked, which I just think is mental. But I just think without blinking, and for me, he obviously we're going to the team, but he starts at right back for me purely because look, you don't win the Champions League and then the Premier League the year after in a 4 at the back, being the right back, being one of the more, the full backs as the years have gone on have become more and more important for these sort of Klopp, Pep Guardiola managers, and he has been the best right back in the league, possibly in the world, quite comfortably.
You mean Klopp then? You said Guardiola.
I'm talking about Trent.
Oh, yeah.
Being a fullback in that team.
Yeah, you said Klopp. You said Guardiola. Said Klopp.
Like in then Klopp and Guardiola teams. The fullbacks are massively important. So obviously, you agreed with me that he gets in there with Blinken, whether he does. And obviously, you like Reece James as well.
I love Reece James. I mean, I think Reece James is. I think Reece James as well. I mean, obviously, Bristol City fan, I've seen him playing the Championship before as well. In the Championship, Paul Cook, obviously, you might know Paul Cook used to be Wigan manager for.
Not the most flashy managers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's basically obviously had him for the whole season and played in right centre back and said his best position is right centre half. And now in his second full season at Chelsea, now he's been playing a lot in right centre half for Chelsea. And now I do think he's a great option for the possible forward back that we might do. Obviously, you like Walker in that right centre half position as well because he played it for England.
Just trying to test it.
Yeah, but I do really think that Reece James is a great option for that right centre half spot. And obviously as well, he is a right back. He can.
Got a good delivery.
I mean, he's
very similar to
the FA Cup final as well. I thought he's not FA Cup final. Sorry, on the what final is it? FA Cup semi-final against Man City. Thought he was great. I mean, Mendy was.
I mean, that was in the league game as well.
I mean, it was against Benjamin Mendy. I think I probably have a game against Benjamin Mendy at the moment.
Bless him.
But I think Reece James is.
Also, one thing I want to just point out on James, if he doesn't take Alexander-Arnold, and I assume if Alexander-Arnold doesn't go, he takes Kieran Trippier.
Yes.
James will just take up Alexander-Arnold's role. I would still have James in over Walker at right back, purely for his ability going forward. I don't mind having Walker in there anyway. Like, I still think he's fantastic, but James's ability to whip a ball in will be perfect for Harry Kane.
This is why I'm about Trent as well. Trent's deliveries are absolutely superb.
Well, if Trent doesn't go as well, that opens up the opportunity for what you said, to have him as the right centre back with Walker as a right wing back, or either way around. So it's just massive options.
Obviously, the one who is missed out is Kieran Trippier. I mean, end of the day, he really likes.
I still think he'll go personally. I think the news about Trent, I think it'll go ahead of Trent, which I think is baffling.
But we personally think Trent should be in the squad without a shadow of a doubt.
Absolutely.
But we think there possibly is a slight chance that Trippier goes, which we aren't. Well, we're not happy about it, but we can see why Southgate's doing it. Basically, is what we're trying to say.
I can't see why Southgate's doing it because he was banned from football for 6 months.
But this is what I'm saying. He's banned for 6 months. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I can see why he's done it, because now he's playing and he's probably going to pick him now, isn't he? So
yeah, well, there'll be a lot of recency bias because obviously Atletico Madrid can win the title this weekend. Is he playing regularly for Atletico at the moment? I'm not even 100% sure. I should have looked at that. Yeah. I'm not even sure if he's got straight back in the team or not. I've not really seen him much, although I don't watch much of La Liga, I must admit. Obviously, there could be a bit of recency bias if he picks up the La Liga title this weekend.
Yeah, could be. But obviously, this is why I was saying about Kyle Walker. And if like I said, if he was a real fan, I didn't pick him at all, Kyle Walker in the squad. Because I mean, if you're starting right back in a Champions League final, well, Reece James the same thing as well. This is why people are saying Trent might not get it, because you've got 2 starting right backs, for both English, starting the Champions League final, and then obviously this is why you got the choice of 26 as well. I think it's quite good. Obviously, an extra spot for the right back position, but we are so blessed in this right back position, man. It's stupid, man. Obviously, you got Lamptey, who's not fit as well. You got Wan-Bissaka, obviously he's not going to get in the squad at the moment because how good a fullbacks are. Any other country, Wan-Bissaka gets in the squad.
He'll change nation,
So yeah, that's our 9 defenders anyway. We've gone for 8 midfielders in our squad. We've gone for Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Declan Rice, Jordan Henderson, Calvin Phillips, Jude Bellingham, James Ward-Prowse and Mason Mount. First of all, we're going to start with the 2 first names you said. We said Foden and Grealish. At the start of the season, we thought they were going to start for England. Now, one of them's possibly like the best Englishman in the squad, and the other one's just coming back from injury. It's got a slight chance of getting in the squad. We think this 26-man squad will benefit Jack Grealish, and we think he'll be the man who possibly will just get in the England squad, perhaps.
It's a shame that he's not been injured. He's been injured, hasn't he?
Obviously, we're very we post a lot of Phil Foden propaganda on this channel, and obviously we do believe he's possibly the best English midfielder. Obviously, and Jack Grealish, if he wasn't fit, will be right behind him.
Forward though, innit? Foden, with the way he's been playing for City this season in particular, he counts as a forward really. But yeah, we put him in with the midfielders. Bit unfortunate for Grealish this last couple of months. He still goals purely because he's just pure dribbling ability on the ball. He's fantastic, and even if he is not quite at it, he's still a very good option to bring off the bench. Of course, a lot of these rely on fitness. Jordan Henderson being the main one, because I've not seen an England team yet where Jordan Henderson doesn't start. That's been picked by like people in the community. That Jordan Henderson doesn't make the starting 11 if he's fit. The problem is if he is fit.
If he is fit, obviously, we've gone for Rice in the holding position. There, we've gone for Rice, Phillips, and Bellingham. Obviously, all three of those can play holding as well. Obviously start Declan Rice first. Declan Rice. Yeah,
I think West Ham's sort of form this season has been largely down to Rice.
Yes.
Moyes has made him the sort of central piece of that midfield. He's no longer.
He got injured recently as well. In the part of the 2 weeks he was off. The window at West Ham did.
He's on the ball a lot more because Souček obviously likes to get in the box and score goals. Obviously they've had Lingard being that sort of box to box attacking midfielder. Fornals, Antonio, that sort of thing. Jared Bowen. So he's had a lot more of a central role instead of being sat in a 2DM sort of formation. And with England as well, I think in the last couple of friendlies he's performed really well in there. One thing I think it was quite valid to point out is, we might have said it in the previous video, the last two friendlies, or I think it was 3 games we played in the last international break. I think 2 of them Phillips started and 1 of them Ward-Prowse started, but in every single one either Phillips came on or Ward-Prowse came on, for each other. So it felt like Southgate was looking at that sort of box-to-box midfielder positions. So you have your Rice, your DM, and you have your box-to-box, and you have your attacking midfielder, which obviously we'll come on to. Looked like he was trying, if Henderson is not going to be fit, do I want Ward-Prowse in there or do I want Calvin Phillips? Personally, I would have Jude Bellingham in there.
Yes.
But his form has come after them international break,
you also know my point of view. I said in a previous video, Calvin Phillips for me should never be even in the squad for England, realistically. I've said it before.
I think it's a bit unfair.
No, but I just feel like if you look at England squad, I think, Calvin Phillips is my starting centre mid in the Euros, and you go up against the likes of France, that French squad and Portugal squad, we get to the last 16.
Pogba, Kante, and someone else.
I just would not feel confident in this. Like, even against Croatia, with the experience of Modric and stuff like that, Modric against Calvin Phillips doesn't really quench my appetite. I'll say that.
I just
Henderson starts if he's fit.
Phillips is okay, but I think there will not be a squad in the next 10 years where I don't think Bellingham's in the starting 11 as soon as this tournament is over.
He might start Bellingham. Obviously, there is 2 games before this.
Yeah.
Which obviously, the likes of perhaps Foden aren't going to be there, is he? Obviously, because of the Champions League final.
Yeah.
So Bellingham might get, and they might push someone further forward. Might put Creation in that forward, like near the top of the cam position. Obviously, Mason Mount's not going to be there as well. So he might play the likes of Bellingham and Ward-Prowse, see how they do. Because I'm not 100% sure we play in the friendlies. I think one of them's Albania or something like that. I think.
Yeah, he's pretty rubbish team.
Yeah. So we play them in friendlies. Obviously, this can be a great shout. Obviously, Bellingham, we've seen him play in the Champions League against Man City, and he was Tottenham's best player.
Can I just say, he carried that form into the Bundesliga for the running. They were 7 points behind Eintracht Frankfurt, and now they're in the Champions League spots.
I didn't know that.
They qualified as well.
Nice.
He's been central to that. Him in that centre midfield, and he's shown the ability to get in the box in the key moments. So when the ball is going out wide, and you'd have obviously your Foden or whatever, or Sterling or whoever, and they're getting into that area to the byline, he's doing that sort of Frank Lampard late run and getting on the end of them crosses in, which will be vital. I just don't think that's something that Henderson brings. Henderson's brilliant at dictating the play, spreading the ball out wide, just organising the team, but Bellingham brings you something different in that box to box. If we need to overload some plays in the box, he'd also have the energy to get back as well and help out. Would Henderson be that threat in the box? I don't think so.
Obviously,
but he does start.
Southgate does play 2 formations. He plays forward back and forward back. We're going to talk about that as well towards the end of the video, the formations and players we might play. Obviously, Bellingham in the 4, I believe, will get forward out of possibly the ones we're going to speak of. Mainly because obviously how tall he is and how physical he is at his age. I don't think there's anyone else like him like that, especially for his age anyway. The way he's able to basically win fouls in that centre mid spot. Obviously, you just basically put his body away, winning those free kicks in the middle, which perhaps you wouldn't normally see, and then stop basically the counter attacks perhaps from obviously the other teams. And also as well, when he comes forward with the ball, he doesn't really like losing the ball to me, Jude Bellingham, when he comes forward with it. And obviously then if he comes forward with the ball, we play the free forwards like the Kanes, obviously the wingers are going to talk about as well. I don't see why Bellingham will not at least play 3 games in this Euros, personally. Even if we get past this group stage anyway, I think he'll be a good option off the bench as well, possibly if we're going for a win and possibly bring off Henderson and Rice as well. And obviously the other 2 names we're going to speak about, obviously we said, is James Ward-Prowse and Mason Mount. Talk about Mason Mount first. Mason Mount, I feel like Chelsea, obviously he got given Chelsea's player of the season there like last weekend. I just think it's a shame how blessed we are on that centre attacking mid spot. I think for England and the centre mid spot, we've just got. I don't think we've ever seen an England squad where we've got so much talent that it's worrying how much pressure perhaps could be on the squad.
Yeah,
the same.
Maybe, but I just think Mason Mount has gone up in everyone's estimations.
He has definitely
no matter how much you rated Mount before, I think this season has solidified that he's not just a decent player. He's a very good player. Good at playing on the half turn. Can shoot. Gets into them areas in the box again where you're a threat to a goal. Very similar to Foden, I'd say. But his energy in that role just ahead of whoever's in that box to box Henderson type role is going to be important, and he can come over to the right, he can come over to the left. He played left wing in the second leg of the Champions League semi-final against Madrid, and he popped up with a goal.
We've got about 3 different players who can play left wing.
Yeah, so his versatility as well, but his energy to just go anywhere in that sort of attacking line, moving side to side, getting to receive the ball and spreading the play. I think he's number 1 candidate for the role. I think if you'd have asked me 3 months ago, I think Grealish starts there 100%.
Okay.
But because obviously the combination of Grealish being injured and Mount skyrocketing in form and sort of carrying Chelsea on his back at times, I think Mount is a certain starter there. Plus, there's the sort of joke of him being Gareth Southgate's love child, so I think that's a certain.
Obviously, we've gone for Ward-Prowse as well. Ward-Prowse has played quite a few times for England as well. Ward-Prowse, obviously, say Trent doesn't play, they have a man with absolutely exceptional delivery.
Set pieces.
Yeah, set pieces, corners. That's a set piece or whatever. Someone who can.
It's another factor into that debate.
Yeah, make something out of chances probably couldn't have perhaps with other players on the pitch. So obviously he can play that box-to-box role as well, which is why I'm more thinking of perhaps of like say players aren't fit perhaps, and he can basically come on because he plays 90 minutes week in week out for Southampton. So no matter what, he's going to be fit enough so he can come on and do a job for you.
It's very easy to just throw in that he's minted free kicks, but that set piece is a very vital part of how England play. Look, the success in the World Cup from the corners.
He took the corners as well. I don't remember. Was it Rashford took the corners or not?
Oh, I cannot remember.
Was it Trippier, of course, isn't it?
Probably Trippier, yeah. But there was a big success from England. Obviously, teams will have looked at it. They're not stupid. But Maguire and Stones doubling up on each other in that line with Rice, etc. Will still be a threat. So that's another factor. As I said before about him versus Calvin Phillips for that position if Henderson isn't fit, I think that set piece delivery is a massive factor because a lot of what Southgate does and what Southgate works on relies on set pieces and the aerial ability we've got. I think James Ward-Prowse could sneak in the 11 for me.
Midfielders we might possibly think have missed out, which is quite dubious. We've gone the 2 we think are dubious really are James Maddison and Lingard. Obviously,
Maddison's a shame. I really like Maddison, but again, like you said, we're spoiled.
And also as well, he's come back from injury the past 2 months. He's not really proven to me why.
We made a video about 4 months ago about them four, didn't we? Foden, Grealish, Maddison and Mount.
And we said
and at the time we said take 4-4, but we did say at the time that I think Maddison would have been the one to miss out personally. This was before Mount had gotten massively up in form as well, and before Grealish had been injured. Maddison and Grealish have been out for about the similar period, but also Maddison hasn't played much for Leicester.
No.
He whatever's gone on behind the scenes.
He also got man marks, by the way. He played poorly for me against Chelsea midweek. I don't think he
but
played great.
Even if he'd been playing every week for Leicester, I still think Grealish offers you more than Maddison. Although Maddison, I think, has had a brilliant season overall, and especially when Vardy was out for Leicester. Although Vardy hasn't had a brilliant season in itself.
No. And then also is Jesse Lingard. He's basically coming to form.
Lingard's the one for me that I think could be picked. But I don't know. I can't see who.
Possibly, perhaps Ward-Prowse.
Ward-Prowse or Phillips, but no. And then Bellingham. For me, it could be Bellingham as well that he picked over. This is looking purely in Southgate's head.
Lingard, for me, obviously, plays very, very well for England.
And he was in the last squad.
He was as well. And I don't think his form has decreased since that last squad personally either.
He still played pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, so...
I think West Ham have stagnated a bit, haven't they? Obviously, but
that was also because, like we said, Declan Rice has been injured in that little spot as well.
Yeah,
They won recently midweek because Rice has come back from injury and they've won.
I think Lingard's a shout to be in there, but we've not picked him purely because we want Bellingham in there and... Phillips and Ward-Prowse are still decent. And Lingard plays in that Mount position, so if you're going to have Grealish and Mount there, there's no room for Lingard.
Another shout as well we missed out is obviously Bukayo Saka. Obviously, he can play the left wing back and obviously the midfield role as well. Yeah. We just think there's better players.
Too early for him. Yeah. He will be in an England major tournament at one point, just not for this one for me. Purely. He's suffered a bit that Arsenal have been utter rubbish. So he's suffered a bit because he's. I mean, speaking to Arsenal fans, him and Emile Smith-Rowe, the young lads are carrying the rest of the team on the back. And that's
Emile Smith-Rowe's another one, but obviously he did that position is so
too late for him. Not as good as quality as the likes of Foden either. So
anyway, we're going to talk about forwards now. We've gone for obviously the 6 forwards. We've gone for Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling, Marcus Rashford, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Jadon Sancho, and Mason Greenwood. First of all, Harry Kane. He's going to play for England every single game, surely.
Captain
Kane. What more you got to say about him? Obviously,
Kane,
top Premier goal scorer, top assist in the league as well. Didn't win the Player of the Year.
It's very boring to speak about Kane because no offence to him, but he's just an elite striker. And England have not had an elite striker since Wayne Rooney, so having him there and proven tournament, obviously Golden Boot in the World Cup.
So obviously Wayne Rooney scored 1 goal in the World Cup as well in his whole career, and
just a lethal finisher. And more importantly, good from penalty spot.
Obviously, with VAR and stuff now and the new rules, it's more of a chance. I feel penalties are more likely. So to have
takes a decent free kick as well.
There's other players that rather have free kicks. Obviously, the next man is we've said. We've seen what little list we've got here. Obviously, Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling had an interesting season. We'll say that.
I wrote a bit on Sterling yesterday. Actually, funnily enough, and his numbers this season are still pretty decent in terms of for City. I'm pretty sure it's double figures in goals and it's just under double figures in assists.
Right.
But it absolutely pales in comparison to previous years.
Yeah.
Previous years he's been hitting like 30, nearer to 40 goal contributions. This season is just about breaking 20.
Yeah.
Which is nowhere near the Raheem Sterling we know. He's also in a season where City have had no strikers. He's not been able to make the false 9 or the right wing position his own. The emergence of Foden obviously has completely locked down the left side for City, and Mahrez has been outstanding.
Yes.
So only left the striker spot, and Sterling struggled there, and then City found this false 9 formation where De Bruyne plays as the false 9, and it worked for him. They won 21 consecutive games and they got to a Champions League final. Sterling has struggled to get back in the side, and I do have sympathy for him because I do also think with footballers you can't get a decent run of form unless you're playing week in, week out.
Right.
So he's going to struggle. In terms of England, he goes because he's majorly experienced for such a young lad. He's only 25 years old.
Oh wow!
And he's been to 4 or 5 major tournaments already. Yes. When he burst onto the scene at Liverpool, he was at 17, wasn't he? And then he went to the Euros that season. 2016. The one where we played Wales and we beat Wales. He played in that game and all that.
But also so did this man as well, Marcus Rashford. He played then. He was 16, 17 as well. Obviously,
Sterling plays in this England team purely because Southgate has loyalties to him, and he's not been bad for England over the last couple of years in terms. Well, what?
We're not going to talk about the World Cup semi-final. You could have squared it.
That was Kane. No, but he went on that massive period where he didn't score for England, and then he scored against Spain, and then since then I think he's got a fantastic England record in terms of goal scoring, and he seems to be the main man for Southgate. Obviously it goes against Southgate's principles a bit that he's not the main man for the club. The principles for Southgate is if you're not playing for your club you don't get picked for England, but it goes a bit against that because Sterling is one of Southgate's main men.
He is.
He still is going to be equally as effective for me off the right or the left, but I just do think on form and the excitement we've got coming through, there are better options, which pains me to say because I'm a massive fan of Raheem Sterling, not just because I'm a City fan, but I think he's been severely underrated as a player throughout the Premier League, but just this season he's not had as good season as some of the options that we're going to pick.
Next one we're going to talk about is Marcus Rashford. He also played in that game against Wales as well. We always forget this. Marcus Rashford's burst into the scene, obviously. I don't have to talk about Marcus.
If Anthony Martial wouldn't have got that injury in the war, but we wouldn't have known about Marcus.
Marcus Rashford, obviously, another man with great...
MBE, I will say.
Another man with great delivery as well from free kicks, perhaps, obviously, if Ward-Prowse isn't there. Marcus Rashford, I think, has he got...
Are you sure? Scored one worldie, didn't he?
Yeah, I thought he got good set pieces.
Well, if you're going to knock my Harry Kane suggestion, then Rashford's got one worldie.
So, Rashford, anyway. I think Man United this season, I think, is possibly one of their best forwards.
Yeah, can we talk about Sancho and Rashford? I just mentioned to you off camera Sancho and Rashford as in like a combination.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Because in that front three, Kane is obviously the starter. You've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin as your backup, and then Greenwood, who we'll come on to speak about anyway, in regards to everyone else. But on the left and the right, I think we should have put Foden in the forwards, really.
Right.
I think Foden starts on the left purely because he's been
outstanding
for City on the left. I think he is in direct competition with Raheem Sterling.
Okay.
And I also think that on the right-hand side, Marcus Rashford is in direct competition with Jadon Sancho. So, just obviously mentioning Rashford and Sancho together, Rashford, in terms of numbers, has had a fantastic season, and I understand that numbers-wise he's been sort of up there. But stats don't say anything, they say everything. There's an argument for stats in some cases, like, for example, Brighton's XG.
Yes.
Brighton should be not where they are in terms of outperforming their XG. You know what I mean? So there is an argument to say there that with the stats, Brighton should be better than where they are if they'd had a decent finisher. But I think Rashford, as good as he has been not as good as Sancho.
Obviously, there was a blip in mid-season where Sancho wasn't performing as the level he has been.
But he had an injury. As well.
That's what you said, the level he has been. And how he...
As well with Rashford, what I'd compare with, comparing with Sancho, United have got into the top four for the second consecutive year, and they've got to the Europa League final. The main catalyst for that, for me, for United, has been Bruno Fernandes. Yeah. Paul Pogba has been decent. Luke Shaw's been really good as well. But Bruno Fernandes has sort of transformed that team in a way, as much as it pays for me to say it. Take comparison with Sancho. Dortmund 7 points behind Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yes.
Sancho comes back from injury. Borussia Dortmund have now qualified for the Champions League.
Agree with you.
I know obviously that, you know, there's a lot of factors playing into that, but since he's come back, I think has been transformational for Dortmund, and for me, he starts easily based on current form. He's exciting. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You've got Marcus Rashford on the bench. Yeah, you got Sterling or Foden or whoever doesn't start in that start.
And also 11. As well, obviously, like we've said, the likes of Foden, Rashford aren't actually going to be in the friendlies beforehand, obviously, because the Europa League final, Champions League final. So it's a great chance to try out Jadon Sancho for England. Obviously, he scored one goal for England already. He's not performed great for me for England personally.
Not incredible, but
that's because we compare him to how he plays for Borussia Dortmund. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And also forget as well, Sancho is extremely young as well. We've got such a young squad.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is why I feel like we're put a lot of pressure on, perhaps. But obviously, two men we haven't talked about, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's that. Basically, the other different option, number 9.
What we said just off camera as well is that if we're 1-0 down to Croatia and Croatia are sitting back, Calvert-Lewin's aerial presence is much better to have than a sort of fasting behind forward.
Sterling, perhaps.
Sterling. Yeah.
So Everton, great season for Everton. I think it's his best scoring season. I think. He
had a fantastic start. Had a bit of a struggle to remainder of the season, but he's just his threat and his big natural athletic ability must be a nightmare for defenders.
And obviously Mason Greenwood as well as the last forward we've picked. Obviously, we have quite a few friends who are big fans of Mason Greenwood.
Yeah. 2 months ago, Greenwood gets nowhere near it.
Yeah.
I was honest with a United fan that we know. I think Greenwood's form this season up until the last couple of months has been very poor. Considering he was being compared to Phil Foden, and to see what Phil Foden has done this season, I think it's very full. But obviously stuff has gone on
since the incident with the Iceland incident.
Yeah, the Iceland incident and what's been going on in his personal life. With that lad dying, that he's good mate from City and stuff. It's got to be a struggle in a pandemic season when you can't really do much. But since he's got a regular run in that United team up front where he should be playing, he's been scoring goals and important goals for United. So I think first of all, for the extended squad, he's one of these to benefit from the extended squad. And for 2, because of the form of the other strikers maybe around him, or the fact that he brings the sort of youth and explosive speed that maybe if Kane is knackered at the end of the game and England are 1-0 up and Greenwood comes on for Kane, Greenwood is very likely to nick one on the break because he needs one chance. I think he's... in comparison to Watkins and Bamford, which would you say were the 2 that were in comparison for him for that spot, he only needs one chance, whereas I don't think Watkins and Bamford are as clinical as Mason Greenwood.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think Greenwood, obviously, you've seen from where he's finishing is, he, like you said, he's one chance. Watkins, obviously, for Aston Villa, is his first season in the Premier League. Likewise, with Bamford's had a first proper season starting in the Premier League, and they've performed well. Obviously, they're top goal scorers for their clubs, but I do feel like Mason Greenwood brings a different option compared to them two, and obviously, they are quicker than them two as well, personally as well, which obviously I know pace isn't a thing, but when you're talking about experiences like the Croatian, the Czechs and the Scottish who are basically running through quicksand all the time, I think you might have a chance with Mason Greenwood up top. Obviously we said at the start of the video we are going to do formations, then we're going to do formations now. Obviously we've got two different formations England possibly might play. We've gone for a 4-3-3 and a 5-2-3. We're going to start with a 4-3-3 first. We think we're going to go Pickford in net, we're going to go Walker and Shaw as the fullbacks, Stones and Maguire as centre halves. Then we've gone for Rice, Henderson and Mount in the three. We think Rice possibly holding out of them three, or Henderson.
Yeah, Rice
will hold. And we've got Foden, Sancho on the wings, and Kane up top. That's what we feel like we were playing a 4-3-3. Anything else you want to comment on that, really?
The reason this is a bit of a mixture of what I want and what
I know.
If I had to say, personally, I think Southgate will go Sterling instead of Sancho.
Right.
It's not even a guarantee that Foden starts with the way.
Well, I think
Southgate
he has
to. Again, dependent on fitness of Jordan Henderson. If Jordan Henderson is not there, I think Bellingham should start in Henderson's position. But I think Southgate will pick one of Phillips or James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah. I think as well, Mason Mount has got to play. I believe he's played so good for this season. Grealish would have played if he was been fit all season, but Grealish has not been fit all season, so he doesn't get in the start 11.
Grealish is in direct competition with Mount for me for that position.
And then obviously Harry Kane, without a doubt, starts.
Of course.
Stones, Maguire, no matter what starts. Shaw starts to be person. It's just that right back position. We feel like in a forward at the back.
I'd love Trent to play, but
I feel like in a forward at the back,
he
likes Walker as that right back. Which now we'll talk about the five at the back. We've gone for Pickford in net and a five at the back, 5-2-3. Pickford in net, Trent and Shaw as our wing backs. We've gone for Walker as the right centre half, Stones left centre half, Maguire in the middle. Then we've gone for Rice and Mount as the two in the middle, box to boxes. And then we've gone for the same wing as Sancho, Foden on the wings and Kane up top again.
The thinking behind this five is that obviously Trent is the threat going forward, and Walker's good enough to cover as he's shown in the World Cup when we got to the semi-final. If Trent isn't picked, you can easily rotate between Reece James and Kyle Walker. They both can play each position, so it's just what Southgate prefers. Personally, I think Southgate will prefer having Walker in the right centre back because he's tried and tested.
Yeah.
Like you said though,
I like Reece James as recent half. Obviously, Reece James has now been playing right centre half for Chelsea more recently because Aspilicueta's been playing that right wing back. I don't know why he's been doing that. So I personally, I would Aspilicueta right centre half more than Reece James. But he's been playing Reece James as that right centre half position. He's done very well. Obviously, like I said, watching the Championship a lot as well. He played right centre half and right back, and he played very, very well as right centre half at that young age as well against the very physical Championship teams. And that's why it's such good. We have 26-man squad. We've got so many options we can do. And obviously, like I said, if there's possibly an injury, one of them automatically slide straight in, say Trent or Walker gets injured, one of them slide straight in away and obviously switch around. It's just obviously the centre half position is not as great as previous years. Previous years haven't been great anyway, but I reckon this year, due to injuries, I think to have certain players in that position, we need to possibly put another right back in there to cover if we're doing five at the back. I feel like, which is why we said. I mean, obviously Shaw perhaps could play left centre half himself if you don't want to play in the right. Obviously the right side it's in the back and play Chilwell left wing back. But we think Shaw's been such good this season on that left side. We don't think there's no point in playing left back because the attacking prowess has been very, very good this season for Man United.
Yeah.
So we'll say Walker right centre half, and obviously we're going to play Trent right back. But obviously this is all that we think if this squad goes through. And obviously Harry Kane starts on top.
What we may do is we may, depending on what we're doing on the day, we may just throw an instant reaction to the lineup up.
Of course.
Just a quick 15 minutes. But just seeing what he's done and how we could sort of set up then. Or it could be a later video. We just with the squad, I just think there could be some surprises. If there's not, bang on.
This video can go out hopefully the day before the Monday, or could even put it for a couple hours before the squad because obviously everyone's all about Euros at the moment. Obviously, the Premier League obviously finished this season. We'll get the Premier League out of the way first, and then literally it's just Euros for the next 2 months.
Apart from the Champions League Europa League final, which is quite important for me.
It is, obviously for you. But I'm saying, apart from that,
the Championship player final. Where's your Championship roots, mate? That's important.
It's a boring game. It's 1-0s.
I thought the this is completely off topic, isn't it? I thought that the games were decent. The Bournemouth and Brentford.
Yeah, but it's like I'm not really interested because those 4 teams.
Because Bristol City aren't in it.
Well, that as well. But those 4 teams should be in the Premier League anyway, all 4 of them.
Yeah, true.
So, well, possibly not Barnsley, perhaps.
Brentford, I want Brentford in the Prem.
Well, not everyone wants Brentford in the Prem, but I don't see why they are. I mean, they've played for the top 2 so long, getting in that second position, and Watford got by them. Anyway, yeah. Let us know your thoughts, obviously. The England squad below, obviously. This is going to go out a day before the actual England squad's announced. We might do a reaction to the actual England squad, obviously.
Depends on
see how I feel. If there's any massive surprises, perhaps. Obviously, we said there'll be one. There'll be one debutant in the squad. We've gone for Fakayo tomorrow. I don't think there's any more debutants. I don't believe that we said, unless I'm being stupid. No, the only
Greenwood. Is Greenwood a debutant because he didn't?
Right, he's been in the squad.
He's been in the squad, but he's not played for
England.
First
debutant in the squad. Yeah, I think Fakayo tomorrow. I think deserves it over other players. Obviously, Ben Godfrey and other players might miss out in that position, but we think Fakayo tomorrow is the only debutant in the squad. We think this will be our prediction for the 26. Obviously, there's a lot of videos out recently about other players like Trippier's, about what going to be in that team, and Watkins going to be in that team, and other players starting. But this is ours. Any thoughts that you might want to have on TikTok, social media, even on comments on this video, what you agree on or disagree on? Obviously, we recently hit 146 subscribers recently, so we're close to that 150 mark, which we said in the previous video like 2 months ago. We want to get 150 subscribers before first game of the Euros, which hopefully very, very close to that margin now, which is great to see. In the Euros as well, hopefully going to do a lot more videos, possibly on game weeks. Obviously,
live streams. Can't wait for that. It's gonna be good.
Fingers crossed for that one. Yeah, we're very excited for the Euros. Obviously, the Champions League final for him, I don't really care about Champions League final because one of the 2 English clubs going to win, so it's always nice to see. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate your support. Obviously, England is
up the England. See you later.
Coming home.